I got a great question from somebody about steps they can take to improve their relationship with food, and it made me realize that this issue with a bad relationship with food can really come from different angles. Like we have the individuals who may be having trouble with a lot of binge eating or severe cravings, or maybe they just can't stop eating. And then we also have other people, maybe they're restricting calories too much or doing some other type of behavior that's really restricting the amount of nutrients that the body can get. But we also need to think about the people who just hate eating because they feel so awful when they do. Somebody have a chicken sandwich and they'll be balled up on the fetal position on their bed for 3 days. They said it's just not worth it. I know that I need to eat, I have no energy, but it's just not worth what I have to go through when I have a meal. So this made me realize that it could be very helpful to make a video going over steps that a person can take to improve their relationship with food, but help you understand how the same step can help different aspects of these issues for totally different reasons. So it was over on our video for 20 signs you're not digesting your food correctly that user Ice Cube something or other said, I just want a normal relationship with food. I don't know when the last time was that I ate a full meal. I just hate eating. And I actually hear this a lot and didn't put it together that this can really be about someone's relationship with food as well. So when we're looking at this topic and we look at the advice out there, most of the advice out there for the people who are binging or craving or have a hard time maybe restricting too much of their diet and not bringing in enough nutrition, most of the advice out there is either, well, you just want to stop being so restrictive, be kind to yourself, don't track every calorie that comes in and become obsessive about it, or sit and talk to somebody for an hour, 3 days a week for 15 years, and we'll get all this straightened out. And there really are circumstances where someone has had some type of trauma in their life. And I've heard crazy stories from people. Yeah, my dad locked me upside down in a dark closet and only opened the door to feed me ding-dongs. And something like that is going to create a significant trauma and change their association with food. And as ridiculous as that example is that I gave, I've heard stories that were just as bad. So if someone has an experience in their life, in their past like this, cut them a break. Their viewpoint on food is going to be different from yours. Taking time to talk through that with a professional could be life-changing for them. But if you don't have an upside-down ding-dong eating situation in your past, for most people in my experience, it's really not about their mental viewpoint of it. It's about physiological issues and malfunctions going on in their body that's creating this trouble. It's really not about, oh man, you should just get some willpower. Willpower is not going to be a thing when the body's trying to get something that it needs. No amount of willpower is going to make that happen. So cut yourself a little bit of break when you feel like your willpower isn't strong enough. It's really not about willpower. So we're going to go through these steps, and I'm going to help you understand how these steps can help improve the actual underlying cause of the situations that are creating this difficult relationship with food. And the first thing to understand is that this is not your fault. This is not your personality. You're not a chocoholic. I wasn't born with a sweet tooth. There's things going wrong. I've been able to help clients lose 235 pounds in a year when they were able to correct these underlying malfunctions. I've been able to have clients who were seeing a therapist an hour a day, 5 days a week for over a decade just for their cravings. And when we fixed these problems, they didn't need to see their therapist anymore. So when we're looking at these factors, the first thing that we want to look at is correcting any type of low stomach acid issue. So if you're having any type of digestive symptoms at all, like burping or bloating or acid reflux or constipation or diarrhea or nausea or indigestion or even skin or acne type issues, all of these are signs that digestion is not working correctly, which means you can't break your food down correctly and get the nutrients out of that food. So low stomach acid is a very common digestive malfunction that a lot of people experience and don't even know that they're dealing with that. And to understand why this stomach acid is important, we'll go to number 2, which is to fix any poor bile flow issue. Bile is this soapy substance that's made in the liver and then it's stored in the gallbladder, and it comes down and helps us emulsify or break down our dietary fats. So this stomach acid is very important, and the bile flowing correctly is very important. And it's very common for someone's bile to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly, and it's common for someone not to be able to make enough stomach acid for a wide variety of reasons. So these things are problematic because if you can't break your food down correctly, you can't get the minerals and nutrients out of that food that the body needs to function correctly. When the body's not getting what it needs, it's going to scream for more stuff. So we really need stomach acid to be able to break our proteins down correctly, and we need bile flowing to be able to emulsify our dietary fats. And if we can't emulsify our dietary fats, that means we can't access fat-soluble vitamins like A, E, D, and K. Well, those are a really big deal. A lot of those bodily functions require those nutrients to make them operate correctly. So when the body's not getting all of those nutrients, it's going to scream for more stuff. Now here's the thing. Carbs, sugars, processed junk, that's a lot easier to break down when someone's digestion is not working correctly. You can break down a toaster pastry easily without stomach acid or bile flow. It's practically broken down in the package. It's just chemicals and junk. So the body will scream for something that it can break down easier and turn into a fuel source when it's not getting all the resources that it needs. The body really needs minerals for a lot of bodily functions, and it needs minerals to send signals from the brain to the body and from the body back to the brain again. And when a person can't break their food down correctly, we can't get the minerals out of that food. So now, when the minerals are low, the body will scream for sugars because it can buffer those low minerals as long as sugar is high enough. So this is a really big deal when it comes to cravings and people like, oh, I'm gonna have binge eating things. You know, when I lost my voice for 8 years and 23 different doctors couldn't figure that out, and they were giving me PPI medications to turn off stomach acid, well, my cravings went through the roof when I had never had cravings before. I could eat a potato chip and just black out and then wake up having eaten 3 bags of potato chips. There was chips all over the kitchen floor and 3 empty bags, and I didn't even know what happened. Well, it was because my body wasn't able to access the nutrients that it needed, so when a little bit of easy to break down processed junk went in the body's like, yeah, give me all of that. I can use that. Now for the other side, where people don't want to eat because they have so much discomfort, if we can't break the food down with proper stomach acid, it has to break down by rotting and fermenting. And that creates all of these gases and toxins that create pressure and bloating and cramping and a lot of other digestive discomforts. If we don't have enough bile available to break down our dietary fats, now those fats can become rancid and create nausea and all these other symptoms. So we really need both sides of digestion working correctly, or we can't get the nutrients out of the food, leading to all these cravings and binge type situations. And we're going to have a lot of discomfort when the body's trying to break this food down in a way that it's really not supposed to use. So steps number 1 are to fix any low stomach acid issues and any poor bile flow issues. And if you're not sure if you have those problems, in the description below this video, we'll have our videos for 10 signs of low stomach acid and 10 signs of poor bile flow. And step number 3 can be to fix any type of digestive overgrowth going on. When there's not enough stomach acid there, that leaves the front door open and all these bad guys come in. And we get bacteria in the stomach, or bacteria in the small intestine, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, like all the cool kids call it. And when there's an overgrowth there, now you're competing with all these microorganisms for the nutrients in the food that you're eating. So you're receiving less nutrients to the body for the body to function correctly. And these bad guys also put out all of these gases and toxins, like waste product that they put out. And now that's what the filth in the body that the body can't get rid of. You're going to feel a lot more nauseous. You're not going to have an appetite. You're not going to want to eat because the body's like, don't send more things down here. I'm still dealing with the mess you sent down here before. Plus, bile is the body's main detox pathway. So when the liver filters junk out of the body, it puts it in the bile. So when the bile goes through the digestive tract, those toxins can go out the back door when we poop like a champion. But if bile's not flowing, now all those toxins accumulate and we feel lousy, and then we really don't want to eat more food. So some people are going to have issues that, oh, I have this symptom more, I have these craving type things. And some people are going to be, oh man, I'm just uncomfortable after I eat any kind of food. Some people are going to have both. But we can take steps to reduce any type of overgrowth, and then we don't have that problem. Now, if this is all new to you, remember that I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving anybody medical advice. I'm basically a professional stand-up comic turned nutrition author, because when I lost my voice for so long and 23 different doctors couldn't help me fix that, I had to dig for my own answers. So now for 20 years, I've been helping health professionals in more than 40 countries understand how to help their clients fix the actual underlying causes of problems instead of just covering up the symptoms. But if you want to dig more into the science of this so you understand the right questions to ask your doctor, we'll have a link in the description below for our video on improving mental issues with nutrition, where I share a lot of studies that go through all these things that are very important to help us understand why nutrients are important for the brain and the body to function correctly. Step number 4 is to fix any hypoglycemic type reactions. Some people react to carbs and sugars a lot harder. It's almost like their insulin is acting like a bully. So when we eat carbohydrates and sugars and raise our blood sugar, our insulin sweeps way too much sugar out of the system way too fast. So when we get that little bit of a spike, it creates a real crash in blood sugar. And when sugar goes low, the body really is going to want to buffer that with even more minerals, which a person is not going to have many minerals if they can't break down their food correctly. So then the body's like, hey, give me more sugar. And so we get more cravings for carbs and junk. But if we can remove those spikes and crashes, then we can remove those cravings. Some people can fix physiological imbalances going on. I'll have a link in the description below for our video on how to fix hypoglycemia, and that'll kind of walk you through looking at aspects of your body to see if there's mistakes that are kind of magnifying the problem that these carbs are creating. And then step number 5 is to just change the way that you're eating so you're not creating those spikes and crashes. If you can remove the high carbohydrate, high sugar, liquid sugar, processed junk foods, now you're not going to create such a spike and such a crash. But also, if you have some type of overgrowth in there, you're not going to be feeding all these bad guys with all these carbs and sugars, really activating them and causing them to create even more gas, more pressure, more cramping, and more bloating. So by making your body not so reactive to the carbs and then reducing the types of carbs that you're eating, you can really make all of these situations a whole lot better. We like to see people eat what we call medium carb foods, like butternut squash or Brussels sprouts or yams, so they contain enough carbohydrates to give your body what it needs, even if it can't digest correctly. It's easier to break down those foods than it would be proteins or fats. So you're going to give your body enough to keep these cravings away, but you're not going to have such a big spike and crash with that blood sugar that you set off the next craving to come about. And when we look at the people with the destructive behavior where we're saying, oh, they're really restricting their calories too much, they don't eat enough, they think if they eat food they're going to gain all this weight, and they have all these body issues as people would describe them. But in a lot of situations where the body and the brain don't have the fuel and the resources they need to function correctly, and there's not enough minerals there to send those signals from the body to the brain and from the brain back to the body, what happens is a lot of our viewpoints become a lot more negative because the body is in this sympathetic fight or flight state. So it's viewing every situation as horribly as it possibly can in order to survive. So if we can help the body and the brain function the way that they're supposed to and get them the fuel and the minerals they need, then all of a sudden we don't have such a negative viewpoint on that eating. Now our relationship becomes a whole lot better because we're not afraid to eat and we're helping the body get the nutrients that it really needs. So you can see in both of these situations whether a person is having major pain and discomfort after they eat, or maybe they're just having a lot of cravings and binge type issues that they're having a hard time controlling, or they're having destructive behavior with the way that they eat. When we can fix these digestive malfunctions and help the body actually get the nutrients that it needs out of the food that we are eating, and then we change to eat foods that contain more nutrients, we're eating more real food and having the ability to break that down and get the nutrients out of it instead of just eating out of a vending machine. Now we're going to help the body function a little bit better, and all of these things become a lot easier. That doesn't mean that you might not need to talk to a professional. You might need to have a little bit of help. That doesn't mean that these little steps like, oh, just find something good to do in your life to take your mind off of this, that can help too. But the success rate of any of those steps goes way up when you can learn to work with your body instead of against it. When you can help the body function the way that it's supposed to, all of a sudden your job becomes a whole lot easier. So I know that you've tried a lot of things. I know it's frustrating. I know a lot of them didn't work out. But if you're having any of these digestive type symptoms, it's worth taking steps to see, when I improve these malfunctions, do these other issues that I'm dealing with improve as well? Does it become easier to put these foods away and maybe eat these better options instead? So I'm going to give you some free resources in the description below that are going to help you run like some simple self-tests at home that you can do with tools you pick up like at a pharmacy or a health food store, and get an idea, where are my mineral levels? Are they really low? Is that why I'm having cravings? What digestive malfunctions are going on, and what steps can I take to improve those? So I'll have a link for my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, chapters 3 and 4, walk you through those steps. I'll have a link to our totally free digestion course, and if you'd rather watch videos, that has short videos that kind of walk you through how to do all those steps. And right now, if you just want to understand more of the digestive side of things, if you are having digestive issues, you can jump over right now and check out our video on full digestive reset. I can't wait to hear about your results.